Hey YouTube, Rob again, doing another video for you. Today I'm doing a bit of a spur of the moment, sort of DVD Blu-ray update. First of all, apologies about the lighting. I'm actually, normally do my videos during the day. I'm actually doing this one at night time, so there's no sort of natural sunlight. So I apologize about that. Yeah, I've just got a few Blu-rays and a few DVDs to show you. I just want to just felt like doing a bit of an update. Might perhaps be my, end of the month update. I don't know. I might see, plus I might be able to squeeze another one in perhaps before the end of the month. But we'll see how we go anyway. So we'll get into it. bit of a stack here, and it's probably going to be a long video. So we'll see how we go. Okay, so the first one is a film of absolutely just really glad to pick up. I've been wanting to get this film for such a long time on Blu-ray in this digibook form. It's just been far too expensive and too much of a cheapskate, to buy it at full price. I picked up the original King Kong from 1933. As before, I wanted to pick up this on Blu-ray for such a long time, and I think it's always at least $30 or $35 whenever I try and pick it up. So, but I got this for, I think it was like $17.20 or something. Yeah, $17.20 off Amazon a few weeks ago. I think it's about $18 at the moment. This is just a really good film, I think. I mean, some people say this is one of the best films ever made. I mean, some people say that Citizen Kane's supposed to be, but some people sort of disagree and say this is the best one. Well, I've seen this film. I can't talk. Just started the video and I can't talk already. I've seen this film a few times and really do enjoy watching it. And I've got like a really crappy sort of DVD version of it, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it on Blu-ray. And really pleased to get this release. I think Andrew Balliner was eyeing it off, and I had it in the background, I think, in my last video, and he was eyeing off it a little bit. But it's all mine, Andrew. I'm not going to give it away, do you? Yeah, so that's King Kong. This one's Steelbook. I already do own the film, but I don't think I've got the director's cut. But so I got the director's cut of Watchmen, the Steelbook edition. I've just noticed recently, a lot of other people have probably noticed that the steelbooks, some steelbooks are really cheap. Pretty sure I got this one for like $9, I think, off Amazon, which is just an absolute bargain for a steelbook. As for, I don't have the director's cut, so I'm looking forward to watching. This is probably one of my favourite, if not probably my favourite actual. Now that I sort of think about it, probably my favourite comic book movie. Yeah, this is a really good film. I really do like this one, and really look forward to watching the director's cut of it, actually. Okay, next film. Actually, a film I've sort of wanted to watch. It's one of those films you sort of, you've always wanted to watch, and just sort of gets on the back burner. You never really sort of get around to it, I suppose. It's been on my list, to give it a watch, because I've never seen it before. Got the original, the Italian Job. I've sort of seen the remake a few times, and do quite enjoy it. And this is, I was actually quite surprised. This is actually a really different film to the remake. I was actually quite surprised. I mean, obviously most people have seen the remake, and that's more of a sort of an action type film. Well, this is a lot more of a comedy, I think. I think it's like 1969. I think it came out, so it's sort of a late 60s, type movie, comedy movie, I guess, with a bit of action, really nice sort of car chase in it, which some people say is, one of the best car chase scenes of all time, which I can probably agree with. Actually, it is actually a really nice scene. It's sort of a car chase scene you couldn't do today. It could be just major sort of health and safety issues, and you wouldn't be able to do it. So basically, the storyline of this one, you got Michael Caine. He sort of gets him and a few friends to sort of go over to Italy, and decide to pull off this big sort of heist and steal all this money. Very much like what happens in the remake, I guess. The film itself, it did sort of remind me a lot of, as a TV show, probably, most people haven't necessarily heard of it. There's a comedy TV series from the 1970s called Porridge, which starred Ronnie Barker. So they were sort of set in prison, and it was a comedy. And there's a lot of sort of scenes in this, especially in the sort of beginning of the film, that very much remind me of that TV show. A lot of the same sort of characters, type thing in it. Just an observation that I had. But yeah, it's very sort of simple premise, I suppose. They just sort of go over Italy and pull off this really good heist, and I did like the end to it as well. I thought that was really good. It sort of left it open for a sequel, but for some reason they never did sort of manage to make the sequel. It also has a cameo from Benny Hill as well, so you can sort of tell what sort of comedy it's going to be. There's some ways a very sort of slapstick and type thing, but definitely just a really great movie. I thought great sort of car chase scene in it, and but just a lot different to the remake. I was actually quite surprised. Yeah, good movie, that one. Next film, you might remember perhaps I think it was my last update. I sort of bought and watched the Mallrats movie, Kevin Smith's Mallrats movie, and said I didn't think it wasn't that great of a movie. But I did sort of pick up his other sort of major hit, which was actually his first movie that he ever made, Clerks. I actually did like this one perhaps a little bit more than I did sort of when I watched the Mallrats. It's sort of shot in black and white, and sort of shot on a very sort of shoestring budget. Obviously, his first film, Kevin Smith's very first film. Essentially, it's sort of about these sort of, I'm sure people won't know what it's about, I suppose, but you've got sort of the two main characters, I suppose, and they've one works in like a convenience store, and the other one sort of works in a rental video rental shop, and it's pretty essentially just about, a bit hard to explain, I suppose, but just sort of about their day, I suppose, and there's the customers coming in, and just the events that sort of happen over a day, and it's just sort of them sort of talking about stuff, and like Star Wars and all this, sort of analysing life, I suppose, is probably a good way to describe the movie, I guess. But yeah, it's a very great movie, and it is in some ways very much of a cult classic. The other thing perhaps I didn't necessarily, only sort of criticism, I suppose, of the film that I would have, probably, that it was it's very much, as I said before, it's got a lot of really great sort of witty sort of dialogue to it, and well thought out dialogue, and some ways it's a bit sort of unrealistic, I suppose, to sort of have all these perfect speeches, and perfect sort of dialogue, and it can be a bit sort of showing off, I suppose, dialogue wise, or witty sort of dialogue, but definitely, yeah, a really good movie, I thought, and great sort of great one-liners in it, and good sort of characters, and a fun movie, that one. So that was really good. The next film was actually a film that I had sort of heard a lot of really good things about. So I wanted to sort of, I was really sort of keen to sort of pick it up and give it a watch. It's actually a horror movie. It does get a lot of praise. So I sort of watched it, and to be honest, I didn't really enjoy it that much. So I'll probably get in trouble saying that I didn't like it. But I think it was more the fact that it just wasn't quite what I was expecting. I also thought it was going to be, which was probably, it would have been my fault, but I thought it was going to be sort of like a serious, sort of really scary sort of horror movie. Which I suppose, I don't know, which was probably me. Therefore, definitely me, just didn't, wasn't thinking. The film's called Stitches, with Ross Noble, who's actually a comedian in real life. So it's probably, it was more of a sort of a horror comedy, which I probably should have known, having Ross Noble in the movie. I did sort of watch the movie a few days ago, and I have sort of had time to think about it, and I do actually think it's not quite as bad as I thought it was. and initially. I think it's just more the fact that it just totally wasn't what I was expecting, and that's sort of why I was sort of disappointed with it when I sort of watched it. The film that if I sort of watched it probably a few more times, I think I probably would enjoy it more. For what it is like a horror comedy, not necessarily a full-on horror movie. It's got some fantastic special effects in it, which I just thought were absolutely amazing and really very well done. The costume design was pretty good as well. Essentially, I suppose people know that's what it's about. But yeah, essentially, just you got Ross Noble here is a really bad sort of clown and doesn't really sort of hates his job. He sort of goes to like a little boy's party and to perform, and he sort of ends up the kids just really don't like him, so they sort of start throwing things at him and stuff like that and ruining his act type thing. And anyway, he ends up sort of getting his shoes tied together and sort of falls over and basically impales himself, if I can be the right word, impales himself with a knife straight through the head, and then he sort of ends up dying, and that comes back for revenge on these kids. And that's essentially the plot to it. It's a very sort of very entertaining movie, and great sort of special effects to it, and it is a good movie. I think. It's just that I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't what I was expecting. And some of the actors are very young, so I didn't necessarily think maybe the acting wasn't necessarily. I don't think. I might take that back. I don't think it was necessarily the acting. The acting was all right. I just think maybe the direction I think was a little bit off, and I don't know. I just it didn't sort of pull me in as much as it should have done. I think. Also found the film to be very sort of bright as well. There was no sort of suspense to it and no real scary moment because it was all pretty much really brightly lit, and you could see the clown and so as well as so there's no sort of suspense to it. But yeah, it definitely for what it was, I think it was it is a good movie. I think I just need to perhaps rewatch it again, and I'm not explaining this very well, but I think it's just the initial watch of it. I just didn't enjoy that much. I think if I did sort of watch it again, knowing that it was going to be a horror comedy, I probably would enjoy it a lot more. And I think it is a good movie. I think now that I have had time to think about it over the last few days. I'm going to watch it again. That's what I'm trying to say. I might watch it again, and I'm sure I'll like it a lot more. So that's Stitches. Next one was actually similar. Another film that does get a lot of praise, and a film I have sort of seen it before, and I did sort of buy it and really sort of watched it, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. But I think for different reasons. It's a very well made movie. It's not that. It's just, I think it's just me personally that found it a bit of a hard to watch. That's Pan's Labyrinth, del Toro. I think it's a film. I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it, so I don't necessarily need to go into the storyline to it. I just sort of found that it's definitely a film of sort of two sort of elements. Because you've got this really sort of brutal, sort of bloody, sort of people getting tortured and very horrible sort of environment. And they've also got this sort of fantasy story with a little girl. So sort of two sort of parts of the film, and I think just for me, I just found it a bit of I didn't perhaps necessarily feel very comfortable having this little girl, this innocent girl, sort of in this environment. And the main sort of guy in it too, he's a really horrible person, or he comes across as a very sort of horrible person. But it's definitely a great sort of very well shot movie. Visually, and the storyline was really good, and the characters are really good, and it is a great movie. And some people say it's one of their favourite films of all time. I mean, I can sort of say that it is a really good film. It's just that for me personally, it's a film I couldn't watch on a regular basis. It's just I just found it really hard to sort of watch it without sort of I don't know, cover my eyes maybe. I don't know if I can say that. But yeah, it's a great film. I think just for me, I just sort of found it a bit of a hard watch. But yeah, anyway, that's Pan Labyrinth. The next film was actually one film sort of starring Katie Holmes. It's called Teaching Miss Tingle. They're also looking for a certain film that sort of had Katie Holmes in it, but this wasn't the film. I'm not quite sure what the title of that film. But anyway, so I got this one. I actually did quite enjoy this one. It was actually, if that wasn't necessarily the film I was trying to find, but it was still a good sort of film. It's actually sort of, I think it came out in '99. Essentially, sort of the premise to it is that we've got sort of Katie Holmes, and she's kind of like a sort of straight A student, and sort of works really hard on her schoolwork, and because I think she's trying to earn a scholarship. If she can sort of becomes the top in the class, then she'll get this scholarship, type thing. But then you also got sort of the Helen Mirren character. She's like Miss Tingle. She's like an absolute bitch and hates the students, type thing. So Katie Holmes does this really great sort of project, and she but the Miss Tingle only gives her a C on it, which obviously Katie Holmes is really upset about. And then we've also got the this guy here. He sort of steals the end of the year test and puts it in Katie Holmes' bag. But of course, Miss Tingle sort of finds it and says that she's going to, basically tell the principal when he comes back tomorrow about it, and they're all going to get in trouble. So they sort of, all three of them, sort of decide to sort of go to Miss Tingle's house at night and try and convince her, not to sort of adopt them into the principal. But of course, as things go wrong, and Miss Tingle sort of ends up getting sort of knocked out, and so they have to sort of, so we've got to tie her to the bed, and so we can sort of have time, just so I can sort of have a bit of time with her to try and to get her to sort of change her mind. So that's sort of the premise of the film. But yeah, I just sort of really did like the film. It was actually a really good sort of film, I thought. I also quite enjoyed watching. I just think what her name is, Marissa Kogan. I thought she was actually a really good actress in this movie. She did like a reenactment, or a bit of a spoof, I suppose, of sort of the sort of scene from the Exorcist movie, where she's sort of pretending to be possessed, and I just thought that was a really great sort of scene, and she did a great job of that, and absolutely fantastic, I thought. You don't sort of see her much in anything, which I'm actually sort of quite surprised at. She's actually a really good actress, I think. But yeah, I definitely thought it was a good sort of movie. The only thing perhaps I didn't like about it was perhaps the ending, I think, to it. But I did sort of read that this film actually sort of came out around the time that the Columbine school shooting happened. So I think they decided to sort of reshoot the ending to it, and which is a bit of a shame, I think. I don't quite understand why they feel the need to sort of change the end of movies, or change certain scenes of movies just because of something's happened. I mean, this film was sort of made before this sort of thing happened. I mean, I don't know, you might disagree with me on that maybe, but I just think you shouldn't necessarily have to change your movie just because something's happened in real life that might remind people of something. You know what I mean? I did sort of think, I suppose maybe the filmmakers were a bit worried that certain people would sort of watch the film and get sort of upset by certain scenes, and sort of give the movie a bad review. But I don't know. I think I had the only sort of reason I can think. With that sort of the new sort of reshot ending, I mean, it didn't really quite fit the movie sort of thing. It was it was a few sort of loose ends. I think things didn't quite add up the way they should have done if they'd sort of stuck with the original ending. But yeah, definitely, I thought it was a really good film, I think. I mean, I've always been a bit of a sort of a fan of Katie Holmes, I think. Some people say she's not necessarily a great actress, but I mean, I don't think she's necessarily a bad actress. I mean, I did sort of watch her. I did sort of watch the three Batman movies, the Nolan trilogy, the other day, and she's obviously in the first, just the first movie. But I think it's just more her. She's always going to be was it Joey off Dawson's Creek? I think that was the character's name. She's always just going to be Joey off Dawson's Creek. I think that's got more to do with her personality. I think she sort of comes off as a very sort of innocent girl and type thing. She's but it's, not necessarily her fault. I think it's just just her sort of her personality, I think. Okay, so the next few are actually just all DVDs, which I might just sort of quickly go through because I don't try to make this video. Don't want to sort of make the video too long. I'm going to have sort of a Disney classic, Oliver and Company. I did actually quite enjoy this one. It's actually sort of loosely based on the Oliver Twist sort of story. Essentially, I'll just explain the story, I suppose. So it's essentially got Oliver, which is like a little kitten, and he's sort of like an orphan kitten, and sort of meets up with Dodger, and sort of finds that he sort of finds out that sort of Dodger's like a sort of an orphan too, and him and his sort of friends have to sort of go out every day and try and steal food, type thing, and essentially eventually sort of you get Oliver sort of gets adopted by this really rich girl who comes from like a really sort of rich family, and it's a bit hard to explain, I suppose, but she eventually sort of gets kidnapped type thing, so they've all got to sort of friends have got to sort of band together and to try and save him. Also had some really good sort of music to it as well. Had a song by Billy Joel in there as well, and I'm a bit of a Billy Joel fan, so I quite enjoyed that. But yeah, just a really good movie, I thought. Great sort of animation to it, and a good sort of story. That's that. The next film is actually sort of a sci-fi classic, I think from 1978. I got the original sort of Battlestar Galactica. I sort of was on eBay a few weeks ago, and I think someone was selling the remake, sort of the TV show, remake TV show, I think it was 2003, 2005 or something. I think they only made one series of it and before it got axed, I think. So I think I was sort of looking at that, and I didn't sort of end up, kind of long story short, I didn't sort of end up winning that, but I did sort of see this in a second-hand shop for like $2, so I thought I might pick it up and give it a watch. I just thought it was going to be like a really sort of cheesy sort of Star Wars rip-off, which I guess in some ways it is. But it was actually a pretty good film, I thought. I was actually quite surprised. I was thinking if you sort of took out the characters from the Star Wars movie and sort of put them in this movie and sort of tweak the storyline a little bit, this definitely could have been a Star Wars movie, I think. I think it does sort of land a lot from. I'm pretty sure it's Return of the Jedi, I think. I did sort of read that George Lucas at the time tried to sue the makers of the film because he thought it was definitely a big sort of rip-off of his movie. I don't think he ended up winning the case though. And I think the movie he is actually, from what I've read online, I could be wrong on this, but I think this is actually sort of a cut down, edited version of. I think it's just the first 3 episodes from the original sort of TV show. But I thought it was a really good movie. I thought I just really liked the sort of the characters to it and the story to it, and great sort of movie. Definitely wasn't so far. I definitely thought it was just going to be some sort of really sort of cheesy sort of rip off of Star Wars, but it was actually a very well made movie. I think definitely could have been a Star Wars movie. I think. So that's Battlestar Galactica. Next 2 I'll just go through quickly. I picked up the first disc sort of the Buffy TV show. I think it's like the first 4 episodes of it or something. I've sort of been wanting to sort of rewatch this show for quite a while, and I saw this for like $2, and I thought, well, I might just watch the first 4 just so I can sort of get just so I can sort of watch it, I suppose. If I do really do like the first 4 episodes, then I might track down the rest of the series maybe, but I just wanted to get it just because it was sort of cheap, and I have sort of been wanting to sort of rewatch this show for quite a while, so I got that. And the last 4, just a bit of a sort of another. I think it was like $2 again. I got the series 2 of the Invisible Man, sort of black and white classic. I thought I might give this a bit of a watch and see what it's like. I think it's got a bit of a, so you can see that or not, very sort of linked clear cover. Yeah, it's actually quite nice. I just thought it's just $2. I thought I'd give it a watch and see what it's like. So that's that. So that's okay. So that's my DVD pickups and what I've been watching. A few great titles there, I think, especially the King Kong one. I've been sort of wanting to pick that up for quite a while. Yeah, so that's my pickups for this month. I think this will probably be my end of the month update, I reckon. Certainly, if you've seen any of these movies, certainly leave me a comment. Give me a thumbs up if you want. It's just thanks for watching. As always, and as always, I'm sure I'll be back soon with another. I'm sure I'll be back with another video for you very soon. So bye.